Survivor's back.
Survivor is returning to paradise in the South Pacific.
Who knows, maybe I'll move here.
Hoods and woods are not the same.
This should be interesting.
20 new castaways are ready to duke it out for the title of Sole Survivor.
I will cut somebody's throat in a second.
Bring it on.
We'll introduce you to all of them, from the cop known as Officer Friendly to the former Marine and the guy who might be the most devious contestant ever.
Somebody's quitting, I promise you.
I think this season is going to have a lot of big moves.
Get a sneak peek at 2 of this season's grueling challenges, plus an exclusive tour of this incredible tribal council. This is Survivor Samoa Preview.
It's going to be brutal and it's going to be physical.
What's up, everyone? I'm Taj from Survivor Tocantins, and this is Survivor Samoa Preview. Over the next hour, we've got your first look at everything you want to know about the upcoming season, from challenges to contestants, plus the amazing tribal council in Samoa. And the Polynesian paradise promises to be much different than our experience in Tocantins.
It feels like when we go to Brazil or Africa, we're going somewhere out of our home. The South Pacific is where Survivor was meant to be, I think.
The islands that make up Samoa take up under 2,000 square miles, but pack a ton of resources.
The good news for this season's survivors, there is food out there. And if they are industrious and they're willing to work and just look a little bit, they will find fruit that they can eat.
They both have lagoons right in front of their beaches. There's a lot of shellfish out there. There are black-tip sharks, which are small enough that they could absolutely take care of and eat, and that's a lot of good food.
Game is still tough, but it's nice to know, hey, I can get a little papaya over there.
The coast itself is gorgeous. The reef, the blue water, the white sand, the palm trees, all that stuff is fantastic. But then interior, it's really rough. It's really rugged jungle rainforest interior. So we get 2 of the things we like the most: beautiful water, cool jungles.
This is a place you want to visit. You want to come to Samoa. It's good living here. We've also taken a piece of how the people live in Samoa and put it into the show, and that's centered around leadership. The big twist we have this season is we forced each tribe to choose a leader.
Leadership is always a huge issue in every season of Survivor.
This season for the Open, we really wanted to kickstart it with something. So they get off the boats and right away pick a leader, based only on first impressions. So they each pick a leader, and now right away, based on nothing, pick 4 people to run this challenge. And to make it further difficult, we're gonna label them. Pick who you think's the strongest, pick who you think's the best swimmer, who's the most agile, and who's the smartest. You better be ready for a big show, and it's gonna be brutal, and it's gonna be physical.
One familiar element of recent seasons is missing from Samoa.
There is no Exile Island this season, simply because we felt like, we've done that enough.
But the hidden immunity idols are back with a twist.
So we have 2 hidden immunity idols, but they have their own set of clues, and you can only find the one that's for your tribe. They can only find the one that's for their tribe. The problem is they're hidden at the other tribe's camp. So you have to get selected to go over there, and then you have to find it underneath their eyes. I think this season is going to have a lot of big moves. I don't think Bob from Gabon or JT from Tocantins would survive playing the same way. I don't think the all-American nice person who never really has to betray is going to win. I think you're going to see a lot of betrayals. Overall, I would say we have a lot of likable people.
One of the most likable might be 45-year-old Shannon from Renton, Washington.
Glass is always half full in my world, always has been. It's how I'm made.
Shannon's nickname, Shambo, comes from her time in the military.
Survivor, you've let me down severely. You've never had a former woman Marine Corps sergeant on your show. I think I'm gonna downplay it because anybody that wasn't in the Marine Corps really doesn't understand. You are a Marine your entire life.
The Harley enthusiast says friends compare her to one of the biggest Survivor fan favorites ever.
You're like a female Rupert. This would be the perfect show for you. You so would have done what he did.
She's got this great mullet which looks great on her. I mean, you really can't imagine her without it. That's a real person. She rides a Harley. I like my hair this way, Jeff. And here's a little bit of beer. And, you know, let's go.
So much of my life has been about, you know, identifying your goal, moving forward, attacking, pushing, and succeeding. That kind of being in an atmosphere in which you control nothing, it was an adventure.
28-year-old law student Jason should be right at home in the stunning blue waters of Samoa.
I've played water polo my entire life since grade school. I made the national team, which essentially is the squad that they picked the Olympic team from. I had an opportunity to go abroad to Oxford and just kind of decided that maybe it was time for me to hang up my Speedo. But, you know, I was on the team. I was competing for a spot on the 2004 Olympic team. Just had to make some life decisions.
He's a likable dude. He's a smart dude. I would be so happy if he won this game.
22-year-old spa consultant and big-time Survivor fan Ashley is the youngest player this season.
I think Ashley will do what has to be done. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see a women's alliance this time. And I think if we did, it could be pretty deadly.
Well, I remember in 7th grade, we talked in class about this new show that was going to be on called Survivor, where these people were trapped on this island, and I was just thought it was the coolest thing ever, and now here I am actually getting to play, which is unbelievable. My biggest strength I think I have in the game is just, you know, the way I can talk to people. I'm a really big people person, so I'm going to play more of a social game. There's some really attractive guys, definitely, that I would snuggle up with at night, but in the end that ends up hurting people just because people see them as, you know, oh, well, they're kind of together now, and then maybe we both get voted off.
I'm a mixologist. I basically set up bars and set up drink lists. I just recently set up the #1 restaurant in America. That was pretty cool.
Ben from Los Angeles says he's been a risk taker his whole life.
I learned how to ride motorcycles when I was a little kid. My uncle took my brother and I out.
But those early lessons didn't help when Ben was in a motorcycle accident 2 years ago.
I knew my leg was broken. There's nothing I could really do, so I was immobile for about 3 months, and then I got back to being me and got a new bike.
The 6'5" tall 28-year-old also says he's never been turned down by a woman.
Hey man, when you got it, you got it. You know, I have 3 sisters, so it kind of helps me. You know, I kind of know what women want. I'm the only country boy, but that's my advantage.
Ben is a volcano. It's just a matter of if he's going to erupt or not. I would not trust anything he says. In fact, I'd believe the opposite.
New York City lawyer and urban planner Liz is cautious about her strategy.
I'm a type A personality, so I tend to gravitate towards leadership roles, but I think in this game, that would be very dangerous.
The 33-year-old has worked hard her whole life and holds degrees from Princeton, Columbia, and UPenn Law.
No one needs to know that I went to 3 different Ivy League schools. I think that it could only hurt and not help, potentially breed resentment, or, you know, I don't want people to think that I'm an elitist. I'm probably well overeducated and beyond the average Survivor contestant, but I'm hoping to bring those skills and what I've learned in all of those different settings to bear on the show.
I think Liz is two-sided. Pleasant to be around, would love to have dinner sometime. Meanwhile, Liz is calculating, conniving, and tailor-made for the game.
Later,
the challenges this year are very physical.
We get in on the action with some of the grueling challenges you'll see this season. And just ahead, it's the doctor, the lawyer, and the woman who says she's Survivor's answer to Sarah Palin. Meet more of the castaways when Survivor Samoa Preview returns. Welcome back to Survivor Samoa Preview. I'm Taj from the Tocantins season. We've got more of this season's castaways for you right now, starting with a brainy boot camp instructor who says he'll make some big moves in the game.
Dave Ball is a fascinating guy. The highest IQ, I think, of anyone we've had on the show.
It is a social game, and if you are not cognizant that it is a social game, you are at a severe disadvantage and are going to be quite easily manipulated by someone who understands that it is a social game.
This boot camp fitness instructor from Los Angeles has a plan in mind for dealing with the women in the game.
I'm going to let them shake their things and work their strategies, both left and right. And I'm going to say, ooh, that looks great. Oh yeah, I'll do whatever you want. And then when it comes down to decision time, sorry, boobs don't cut it.
And the son of a preacher man also thinks he has a surefire way to take out the guys as well.
I'm going to plant those seeds in the younger boys. Hey man, I think she likes you. You should go talk to her. I'll just sit back over here and, watch while you burn up all your emotional energy over boobs.
But Dave says he has one major obstacle in the game.
I'm gonna have to be careful of my mouth. That's gonna be my biggest enemy, is my own face.
40-year-old mother of 3, Laura, might keep some secrets from her tribe mates, but her age won't be one of them.
I have a granddaughter as well, so they're probably gonna say, you have a granddaughter, how old are you? That's usually the next question that comes along.
Currently working for lobbyists in Oregon, Laura sees similarities between herself and a former vice presidential nominee.
I would consider myself a fit version of Sarah Palin in the fact that we both have the same conservative views, as well as both having teenage daughters that got pregnant at a young age.
I like her. I like her qualities. May not agree with her politics, but I like the way she comes across. And I could see Laura winning.
I'm now here in Samoa. Brother feels great.
One person who might not want to know about Laura's politics is 42-year-old Russell from Pennsylvania.
After the whole Barack Obama thing, which was great, I'm just exhausted talking about politics and Republicans and Democrats and independents. To hell with all of them.
Something else this attorney for the Environmental Protection Agency intends to avoid is the scenic surf in Samoa.
It doesn't get any better than this, although you won't catch me in there. That's for the fish and the sharks and stuff. Brothers feels real comfortable being on land.
I don't think Russell Swan can win the game. Not because he's not a nice enough guy to win, I just don't think he's diabolical enough.
I'm the first generation of people that doesn't come from poor Appalachian culture. My father and his siblings and, everyone before him are all from the hills of Kentucky. I'm literally the first one that doesn't have bare feet and overalls and my brother on my back.
Country girl Marisa knows a thing or two about survival. She supported herself since the age of 17 and spent time abroad helping others.
Probably my most valued experience is working with street children in El Salvador. You just see the children with distended bellies and you just know that they're full of parasites, and it's devastating, but it's real.
Marisa might be this woman who's spent a lot of time in other cultures, has invested a lot of time in her own family, and is just such a good person that she doesn't have the killer instinct for this game.
I'm just going to try to be nurturing and compassionate as I am, but believe me, I am in no way a fool, and I will cut somebody's throat in a second.
I am finishing up my residency in anesthesiology at UCLA.
Though some might call him Survivor's version of Dr. McDreamy, 33-year-old Mick doesn't think that's a plus in Survivor.
Obviously there's a stereotype of, physicians are like living on the hill just raking in money, and I mean, I'm $250,000 in debt just from school. Those same values that are going to apply in real life and, get me ahead in the workplace are probably going to get me thrown the hell off, here.
No one cares that you're a doctor at home, dude. All I want to know is how are you going to help me win $1 million? And I think Mick is in for a big surprise.
I wouldn't be altogether totally surprised if I got completely blindsided at some point in this thing.
Straight ahead, Jeff Probst gives us an exclusive tour of Tribal Council in Samoa, and you won't believe who he votes out. There's much more to come right after the break. Welcome back to Survivor Samoa Preview. I'm Taj Johnson-George, finalist from Survivor Tocantins. As someone who's sat in on a lot of tribal councils on my season, I can tell you it's a buggy and hot experience. Samoa might be a more picturesque spot than our place in Brazil, but going to tribal council this season will not be a comfortable experience for the survivors.
Welcome to the Tribal Council for Survivor Samoa. Come on in. All right, let's take a little tour. First thing you need to know is Tribal Council for Samoa is based on the Samoan meeting place for the chiefs, the Fale. And this is what they look like. Big round area with all of these posts. And the reason there were all these posts in a circle is so everybody can sit against one and see everybody else. All of our posts were carved by a local art school. Each student did their own post, and the carvings themselves are based on Samoan tattoos. Stumps as well. A lot of times we just have regular old tree stumps. Not this time. More carvings. And if you look down a little further, we have the mats that make up the flooring. The mats were made by the wives of the laborers who helped build tribal council. You getting the theme here? Community. A few other interesting facts about the construction of tribal council: 6,000 pieces of thatch to put up on the roof, 25 tons of rock. If you look around here, there is rock everywhere. In fact, all the rock came from this area. Our guys went out and found it, and attached to one of the rocks is actually the femur of a human being who must have been voted out in their own community ritual. And of course, lots of drums. Now you see why I host. Take a look at the snuffer. And my pride and joy, the snuffer, based on a war club, a battle club. It's a nice one, and there's always the weight distribution. This one is about as good as it gets. Here's the proof. It's so quiet, lethal. All right, now to the voting area. A couple of things worth pointing out. The pen this year is actually based on the top of a chief's staff. And this is very cool because this was also carved at the same art school that did all of our posts. And this is what they use to print their fabric. So you would roll some paint on here, put the fabric on, and very cool. Now it's just the pedestal to vote. And once you're here, there's really only one thing to do, and that is vote. And I love voting when TV Guide comes because I always have somebody I want to vote out. This time, JT, it's you.
Man.
Why? Because you're prettier than me, you're nicer than me, you probably got more friends than me, and you damn sure got $1 million now. I take a lot of pleasure in saying this, my friend. Tell the cattle to go home. JT, show over. See ya, brother. New season's beginning.
Woohoo! Later in the show, we'll give you your first look at 2 of the intense challenges you'll see in Samoa. But up next,
I think there's definitely going to be some romance in the air.
I'm going to try to, do my best to keep well behaved.
we'll reveal more of the contestants, including a girl who spells trouble, a rowdy rocket scientist, and a Southern belle with plenty of sass. Survivor Samoa preview will be right back here on the TV Guide Network. Welcome back to Survivor Samoa Preview. I'm Taj from last season in Tocantins. Now it's time to meet more of this season's colorful castaways, starting with a dreadlock blonde who comes with her very own warning label.
This is my tattoo. It says cuidado. It means like careful or caution in Spanish.
Kelly pretty much tells you everything you need to know if you just look at her. 2 big tattoos. One says caution, the other says trouble. There'll be 1 or 2 guys that'll walk in willingly and say, I know I'm going in the door called trouble because I can't resist the dreadlocks.
But this hairstylist and self-described gypsy from West Hollywood might have some resisting of her own to do.
I think I have a tendency to fall for the troubled bad boys as opposed to like the doctors and lawyers. It's a really attractive cast this season. I think there's definitely going to be some romance in the air. If I meet someone I really like, it's kind of like, oh, I want to spend as much time with them as possible. But then also it phases out quickly too. It's like a lot of short-lived, really passionate relationships, and 2 months down the road it's over. But I'm only here for 39 days, so it's perfect.
25-year-old rocket scientist John plans on downplaying his intelligence and accomplishments to a point.
Maybe they think I'm some dumb surfer, some dumb model or something, to a point that may help me, but you don't want them thinking that you're too stupid, right?
John Fincher is going to hate me by the time this show is over because I think Fincher's a poser. Not that I wouldn't pose if I looked like that either.
But the former semi-pro soccer player says he isn't in the game to pose.
I never try to get ahead, based on my good looks, so hopefully, these people will realize that. And there's plenty of other good-looking people out here too, that's for sure, guys and girls. So
hopefully I can sort of blend in and just fit in.
This is a game where you gotta show up. I mean, it's hard. And I don't think Fincher's got it.
I'm in pharmaceutical sales, and actually I've been doing it about 2.5 years, and I wanted to do Survivor so bad I actually had to resign before I came.
Despite her aggressive sales background, Arkansas native Natalie plans on playing an upfront game.
I'm not setting out to say I want to lie or anything like that. I do want to try to stay honest as possible. It's not in the rule book that you can't lie or that you shouldn't lie or anything like that. So you really have to be on guard. Everybody else is probably lying to you. I'm a Southern belle as far as like I like to be proper and I like to look nice and say nice things and keep a positive attitude, you know, and then of course religion and politics comes into play. I probably am a typical Southern belle in that way.
I think Natalie is probably tougher than she looks and maybe not quite as sophisticated in this game as she would like to be.
23-year-old Brett is barely out of college, but he already started up his own clothing company.
The name of the company is called The Monument of Our Hearts, and it's casual sportswear, so this shirt actually is one of my own creations.
I don't know if Brett is a little like Eric from Fans vs. Favorites, who's going to get his head handed to him by some hot woman, or if Brett's playing that and knows what's going on.
My flirtatious side definitely comes naturally, and I think in this environment, that's something I'll have to subdue to a certain level.
And this avid outdoorsman and karaoke fan plans on providing plenty of laughs for his tribe.
I'll be the guy that's going to try to uplift spirits and at least be entertaining for those that are watching on TV.
I am a policewoman, and I went to the academy when I was 47, so I've been an officer for about a year now. It's my dream job, something I've always wanted to do it since I was a kid.
Betsy's perseverance not only paid off in her dream job, it also scored her a spot on Survivor.
I've applied for 6 years. I think this time they're saying, please give this old lady a break. You know, they're probably sick of seeing my tape.
I would align with Betsy. That would be my first choice.
Betsy says the toughest thing is being away from her husband in remission after a bout with cancer and her 4 kids.
If I think too much about them, then I will miss them. But my head's in the game.
And the New Hampshire cop has already overcome major obstacles when she beat addiction 21 years ago.
I can feel almost the same tightness as a group. We're all going through this great experience together. And that's kind of what it was during rehab, too.
She is a major player if she gets a chance.
Later,
the closest thing to evil that we've had on the show, and I hope he doesn't win.
Jeff Probst reveals who has the most devious plan to win the game. But up next, we go behind the scenes to show you how Survivor's crew is bringing the beauty and culture of Samoa into this season. Survivor Samoa preview will be right back. Welcome back to Survivor Samoa preview. I'm Taj Johnson-George from the Final Four in Tocantins. After grueling back-to-back shows located on the equator, Survivor has gone back to its South Pacific roots. And while there are similarities to previous years, this season in Samoa will have a look and feel all its own.
Survivor Samoa's theme is very Polynesian. It's sort of like going back in time in Survivor times.
Just the beaches and the palm trees and the coconuts, and then even the culture here, which is often about dancing and fire and all this spiritual and symbolism. It's stuff we use in the show all the time.
Even though Samoa is reminiscent of previous Survivor locales, viewers can expect nothing but the best from the art department for this season's South Pacific designs.
Samoa is distinct in that they didn't build a lot of huge structures or anything crazy like that, but their tattoo design is what holds them apart from all the other Polynesian cultures. The Samoans are great carvers. Again, they use that tattoo style in their wood carvings, carver bowls, wood clubs, etc. So we've got a couple of carvers from a local school, and they're now working for us. They're carving up just all our hero props, our contestant torches. They're coming in and putting their feel on top of our designs. Wood was obviously a big building product here in Samoa.
We bought a lot of stuff here, like a lot of the timber we bought here. What we carry every season we tend to take with us because some places you go it's so hard to replace it. And not to mention the cost. So we would travel with a standard 30, 35 containers of equipment that we know we're always going to use, and we always need these particular items, and then we don't have to source them in every country we go to.
And just exactly who makes up the Samoa Art Department Dream Team?
We have about 26 expats, so from the States, Australia, the UK. There are professionals that I bring in, and then we've probably got between 30 and 50 locals on any given day that range from carpenters and scenic artists in their own right.
The local people are fantastic. Their work ethic is really good. Some of the best workers we've had.
With such an amazing atmosphere, it's no wonder these artists have found a creative haven.
It's very comfortable, it's pretty, the water's beautiful, and it's a great place to be to work.
Sometimes it's a bit distracting that there'll be a beautiful sunset or a beautiful rainbow, and half the art department disappears with cameras down to the dock to take photos for artistic license. So that's when you have to pull the boss card and say, come on. But no, it's just it's a really relaxing place to work.
Still to come.
I am going out there to raise all kind of hell.
Until everybody's going crazy and then it becomes some horrible Greek tragedy, minus myself.
We'll reveal the rest of the castaways, including the bad boys who have diabolical plans to take out the competition. Don't go anywhere. Survivor Samoa Preview will be right back here on TV Guide Network. The contestants might not eat well, but the crew behind the scenes is fed by top-notch caterers.
Catering this season is being done by the hotel, but we have 2 of our caterers that are here to supervise the hotel to feed us.
Even with an ideal kitchen setting, keeping the massive crew fed well is no easy task.
They are big eaters. We're doing nearly 1,000 meals a day. Being a reality, the meals are going to be, you've only got a short time to get them out in the field, and they've only got a small window to eat it. So basically the kitchen's just churning meals, going out in hot boxes to all over the place, as well as what is served here at breakfast, lunch and dinner. The kitchen's open 24 hours. And they're being a wee bit spoilt here because they've also got having room service.
Survivor Samoa Preview will be right back after the break. Welcome back to Survivor Samoa Preview. I'm Taj from Survivor Tocantins. We are up to our last few contestants, including the guy who was originally supposed to be a part of my season in Brazil, and the next man who has plans on being Survivor's biggest villain ever.
On a tankering service in Houston. That's what I think is going to shock everybody out here when they find out what I really do for a living and how successful I really am.
Though he's only 5'6", Bad Boy Russell has an imposing brick-like physique and a missing tooth, which proves how tough he can be.
I got a little bit too big for my britches when I was in high school. I grabbed a hold to the ex-football playing coach. I grab him, he slams me on my face, I lose my tooth. As life went on, it became part of my character, me.
And this is one character who plans to play dirty.
I am going out there to raise all kind of hell. If you spoil the rice by putting water in it, you steal the flint, you hide it in the bag, and then you put it in somebody else's bag. They ain't gonna know it's me doing it, but they're gonna be at each other's throat. Everybody's pissed off, hungry, tired. Somebody's quitting. I promise you, my evil plan, you know.
Russell Hands is pure evil. It's okay, there are evil people in the world, but man, that guy is diabolical. I think he could go a long way in the show. It's scary.
Russell could have some competition from cunning bartender Eric.
I'll develop a kind of like a Shakespearean Iago type of persona to where I can take what I hear and use it to my advantage to somebody else until everybody's going crazy and then it becomes some horrible Greek tragedy, minus myself. When I was young, a lot of kids grew up wanting to be professional baseball players, wanting to be firemen, whatnot. I, at like 6 years old, wanted to be a con man. I finally, for the first time in my life, get to be who I really am. A manipulative, conning, cunning, intelligent snake.
What Eric might do is try to play the women just like they're playing him, and that could be pretty fun.
I don't see myself getting into trouble walking into that type of Black Widow den because I see it coming. I'm wide-eyed, not doe-eyed.
This is the origin of reality TV. It's like the king, the beast.
And San Diego beauty Monica is ready to conquer the beast.
I just realized it was an opportunity of a lifetime, and I just couldn't really pass it up.
Monica's been preparing for the Samoan surf her whole life.
I've been swimming since I was a child. I mean, my sister threw me in the water at 3 without my floaties and was like, "You can do it!" So with the swimming part, which I think is a really good strength to have out here, I'm good. I'm a natural born flirt. It's not something that I really have to think about. When it comes down to it, you have to be prepared to flirt with men and women. You have to be likable with both of them. And we're not here to make friends, but in the end, these people are the only ones that are gonna know what you went through. And that's really cool, and that's a bond that can't be broken.
Monica is the woman with whom you know you should stay away from, and you can't not go there. Monica's devious in the most charming and delightful way.
Hairstylist Yasmin plans on living up to her nickname.
Sassy. I think it just jumps off my skin. I think sassy has stuck with me because I speak my mind. I definitely mean what I say and I say what I mean. I come from Detroit. So people say, you know, if you can make it in Detroit, you can make it anywhere. Well, I think they kind of left out hoods and woods are not the same.
And Yasmin has one big worry in the rough and tumble game of Survivor.
I'm a black woman. I wear extensions, people. I know you know these are extensions, but I fear one popping out during a challenge. I do. I just don't want it to hit the ground and then my edges is gone. They're already pretty thin, but that will probably be my biggest fear. Anything else, I could just take it head on.
Yasmin is either going to crumble or completely surprise me. I loved her in casting, but from the beginning, I've had a big question about whether she could hack it.
62-year-old Mike was originally part of my cast in Brazil, but he was pulled from the game at the last minute.
They did the med test and my blood pressure was 160/80. Then the next day it was 170/90, which was the same as Franklin Roosevelt when he stroked out, so they were getting a little concerned. I asked if I had a choice in the matter, and they said, not really. And I said, all right. Yesterday the doctor said I got the blood pressure of a 20-year-old. It changed my life. And I guess the personality they liked, so they just brought me back, only new and improved.
Even though he's the oldest guy in the game, Mike feels his background as a personal chef should come in handy.
If we catch a pig and I get some yams, man, the crew will want to come over and eat, you know? I think I could, you know, make it pretty appealing. And hopefully people will be like, hey, let's keep this guy around. We're eating good, you know?
He's lost like 50 pounds. He's had 2 massive knee surgeries. He's changed so many things about himself. But at the end of the day, he's still limited in what he can do.
Coming up.
You guys know the rules. Driver's ready. Yo!
We'll reveal your first look at not one, but 2 of the brutal challenges in Samoa. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Survivor Samoa Preview. I'm Taj Johnson-George from Survivor Tocantins. I managed to make it over a month in Brazil and took part in some massive challenges. I still have the scars to prove it. Now it's time for a new batch of survivors to prove themselves, and here's your first look at some of the challenges the castaways will face this season.
Oh, there's gonna be some swimming, baby. I'm ready, man.
The challenges this year are physical again. They're very physical.
And the castaways are ready to duke it out.
I'm actually looking forward to a challenge where, you know, we're really like head on with the other team.
Then the Schmergen Brawl challenge is for you.
One of the rules we have is abrasions and scrapes are good, lacerations and contusions are bad. Schmergen Brawl was created by the Grips. A bunch of hardworking guys on the crew were sitting around drinking beer and throwing balls in the waste baskets one day, and it just started developing. It was so cool. Dan Mundy and myself were standing there watching everyone play Schmergen, and we played on our own teams, and with Jeff, and this has got to be a challenge. So we tweaked a couple of things, because we got to slow down the pace a little bit, and added a brawl element.
And here's your sneak peek at the first challenge of Survivor Samoa.
This challenge is called Yank Your Hank. And the hank is a measurement of rope. 6 players from the tribe will carry 3 coils of rope over 3 increasingly tall, increasingly steep A-frame walls. Then they race to the platform, pulling the crate up onto the platform. And once they're up there, they sit down, and the puzzle solvers, 4 puzzle solvers will go over, untie the crate, and then use the planks of the crate itself as the puzzle.
That's it for Survivor Samoa Preview. Which one of these castaways will join the 18 other lucky Survivor winners? You've got to tune in to CBS Thursdays at 8 p.m. to find out. Thanks for watching. I'm Taj Johnson George, and I'll see you later.